let me turn it up a notch. We've been slowed down, but we back, time to watch, shine lights.
What's going on, everybody? This is J.R. Smith here at Unlocked. This is our sponsored program. This is sponsored by All Access GTE.com. So make sure you unlock your All Access pass to go anywhere you want around the world or wherever for golf experiences as much as you can. Check us out. Welcome to another episode of Unlocked. I'm J.R. Smith. This is my co-host, Baldy Ryan Gano. We have another one of bald head guy, but he is a Hall of Famer as well as one of my good friends and a hell of a golfer as well. He loves the game, Ray Allen. So everybody appreciate Ray Allen coming to the show.
First tee.
First tee. Oh yeah, it's our first tee.
That first tee clap for you coming up.
First tee clap, so you don't get too loud.
So Ray, I got a funny JR story. We're actually playing. I don't know if you've ever played up at Quaker Ridge, up in right next to Wingfoot. Love that.
I've never played it, but I've been there.
Okay, super good golf course, man. It's an old school Tillinghast. It's basically like the very much like Wingfoot, but a little bit more unique, like non-pro, like not a championship course, so to speak. So we're playing, and JR's playing really, really well, but he's struggling in the bunkers a little bit and kind of couldn't figure out why. And literally, he texts Justin Thomas. Justin Thomas instantly calls back on FaceTime. So I'm literally holding the phone out while JR's in a bunker trying to get a bunker lesson from Justin. And I don't want to be mean, but I don't know if it took very well yet.
No, it still didn't.
But maybe he's just got too much bounce on his club. So maybe we just need to analyze some of his.
It's funny because as soon as you said that, I was just like, you know what? I thought about that the other day. And it's funny, we did the first episode earlier, and I'm sitting here designing golf wedges from Titleist, about to send it to my guy in Texas who makes my clubs, and I'm getting less bounce on them because I thought that's what was the problem.
But we're literally taping a podcast about golf, Ray, and he is shopping for golf clubs. So I don't know if your addiction or addiction to the game of golf is quite.
His is worse because.
Are you a grinder? I feel like you're a guy that actually works on your game a lot. I mean, you don't get to be a point. What are you, a .4?
I'm somewhere around there, yeah.
So how often are you grinding?
Every day. Like the way I play basketball is the way I golf. Like you got to get there and find something that day. Like if you don't put the work in, the game is going to tell on you. Like there's that same mentality. You know, you have to figure out. And golf is worse because you got to figure out that day what it is that you have. You know, as much as you shot 70 the day before, and you come out with this cockiness thing and shit. I'm gonna hit a couple balls, I'm gonna putt, and then I'm gonna be ready to go. No, you got to rework that same mindset into that new day of golf because it never situates itself. JR, when you're in the sand trap, like the thing, like I was thinking about my, like your path. And sometimes what happens is like your path is like so shallow. And that's what I was working on. So I try to drop my hands and I come up so I can come right back down. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's what I've been working on is
Trying to stay steep through?
Yeah, steeper, pick the club up, like, because you're opening the face of it. So then I'm coming up and I'm cutting back into the ball. So because what happens is a lot of times I fly it out of the sand trap because I get flatter. And then you come underneath it, and then it's like trying to measure it to the right level is difficult. Yeah. I mean, it's one thing to have timing. It's just like when you swing your driver. You could hit a bad shot and your timing could be off because you can get lucky. But to be consistently good, you got to figure out your tempo on the take back and then what your lower body's doing as you come back down over the ball. But I don't like being lucky. I like having it figured out. So when I make my turn, and then I kind of unload on the ball. All of that is, with my frame, I know exactly how I'm gonna get back to the ball. Like, because thing is, people, I'm sure they do it to you, JR, is people always say, man, must be nice to be tall because you can hit the ball that far. I said, I know. Yeah.
I mean, I may have said that 7 or 10 times.
I wish I was a professional athlete.
No. That's no. That's not what I say. But I get your point.
Yeah, because being tall guys, we have more room for mistake.
Right.
You think about our leverage as wide as we can get on our arc. Look at, that's volatility right there. From all that room, if we don't get back into position, then that actually it makes our swing weaker because we don't find a speed slot. And I'll give you a great example. Alonzo Mourning. Like I played a lot of golf with Zoe, and I played a lot of golf with President Obama. Obama hits the ball further than Zoe off the tee box. Think about that.
That makes me feel better, by the way.
Yeah, because Zoe holds on to the club and he doesn't find a speed slot where that your hand is like this and then it kind of comes back in position. Like he doesn't. It's like for a lot of people that don't have power and don't get distance, they're afraid to like let go and kind of whip that club back down in position and match the timing with the rest of their body. It's like they're trying to hold on to it like that. And because I've been on the range with him plenty of times and I'm like, Zoe, if you just, man, everybody just can't hit it. Like I said, Zoe, I started playing golf just like you. Like there's no guarantee to, me hitting the ball far or me finding the middle of the club face. Like that's just being on the range and messing around with and feeling what your hands are supposed to do and what they shouldn't do.
Ray, do you think it's a difference as like a shooter, for example? I feel like this when I'm tight, if we're going out and shooting a basketball or if I'm hitting a golf ball, you start aiming or trying to steer it instead of just letting it fly. Same thing here with a driver, letting it go. You're trying to hit the fairway instead of taking your swing. Do you think it's the same, the kind of the same parallel? It's short arm in that shot, or it's guiding your jump shot instead of just releasing it and letting it go.
It's the exact same. When you think about when you're standing, we always talk about when you're standing over a ball and you got out of bounds to the left, and then you got trees to the right, and you take the lesser of two evils. So you're thinking them hands ain't coming through.
Yeah.
Well, you might even play a fade to let that ball make sure it ends up to the right. But that's the thing. It's like you have to throw caution to the wind and just swing it. Just swing it and don't worry about it. Because where it's going to go, like I always tell people this, you can fail at your second option. You know how people are so afraid to do that best thing, that greatest thing that they want to do because everybody's telling them, oh, you could never do that. And then, I can't make it to the NBA, so I'm going to, try to be an agent. Well, you can fail at trying to be an agent too. Failure is everywhere when you're trying to do something. But if you just try for your best and do what you can to be an NBA player, you might end up in Europe somewhere or even in the G League because you tried your best. Ultimately, you might land on being an agent because you know the inner workings of the business now because you've had friends that now play professional sports. So the point is when you swing the golf club, like the ball's going to go where it's going to go, and a lot of times when you swing at it, that's how I always know if I'm swinging and I hit the ball left, I know the correction that I need to make. And that's my hips, like open my hip a little bit. And then if I'm swinging the ball that's going to the right, I got to wait on it a little bit. So I can then feel confident enough to swing as hard as I want to swing because the ball's going to tell me what I need to do.
So it's crazy, though, that to get there, the amount of work, and that's what I don't think people that don't play golf avidly, I don't think appreciate. The amount of work it takes to know if I'm going left is because my hip's a little here. That's a grind by itself.
100%.
Ray, how long have you been playing golf?
I started when I was 19.
All right, so you've been playing a little while. What is it? What is the thing about golf that keeps you grinding and chasing?
As men, we have this conqueror mentality. We want to go somewhere, date a woman, like, whatever it is that we want to say we did and we've been there and we've done it. But golf, I think, is the one thing in most of our lives that you never have a grasp of it. You always, even when you shoot your low round of your life, you'll sit back and say, I could have shot 2 strokes lower.
Yeah, if I would have made that one putt.
Yeah. You're always chasing, and then the very next day you'll shoot 10 strokes worse. Like my low round of my life is a 63.
Dang, gone.
The very next day I played the same course, and the very next day I shot the very next week I shot a 73. And the 73 wasn't bad. It's just that 63 was extremely good. And even the 63, I 3-putted a green, and I missed a birdie on another hole, which I should have shot 61. So there's always something. There's always something that, like about a month ago, I was hitting my wedges the best I've ever hit them. And today I played and I felt like I had no like comfortability over my wedge whatsoever. And I know what it is. It's just, I was sitting there on the course and I was thinking to myself, I just need to go practice right now. I need to go to the range and just hit and just hit, because that's where it's like the same thing as it's a basketball mentality. So after I would come into a gym and I would shoot, get warmed up, and I'm moving, doing this side to side shooting, back and forth shooting, turning left to right. And I was doing all these things, working on different footwork, and then shooting free throws in between. And then practice would start. Then you go through your whole routine, practicing. And then whatever happened in practice, I would then shoot again after practice to tell myself that all the shots that I missed in practice, I almost like superimposed those shots after practice on the practice in my mind to convince myself that I was great in practice and then I didn't miss a beat. You have to convince yourself of that when you're playing this league, because your memory, sometimes you need it to be short and sometimes you need it to be long. You just have to be able to determine when that is. And so golf is similar. So when you're playing a round of golf, like you find something, you have to go practice it, and then when you practice it, you almost have to go play a couple holes so you can then superimpose some things that you worked on and learned onto now applying it to the real game. Because JR, that back to your point, like I will be in the sand trap on the practice green, just like peppering that pin, just peppering it. And then for some reason I get tight in the sand trap, and then I swing too hard, or I don't take a swing, or I drop my hands on it. But I vow to get it right. Like I'm going to figure it out, and it's just, one of these days, just getting in that sand trap and just sitting there and working until you're comfortable. And that really, it doesn't mean that the sand trap is the worst part of my game, but it doesn't mean that I'm not going to get up and down and make birdies and be comfortable with it in a round. It's just that's the nature of sports. The minute you let go of something, then that's when you become subpar at it to bad. And the saying is, what you do the most is what you'll do the best.
I feel motivated.
Bro, every time I talk to him, I feel like this.
I mean, seriously, man. Like,
no,
this is
I swear, bro. Like, this is we were talking about questions to ask Ray and memories and stuff like that. And it's not playing against him. Like, I remember the first time I played against him in Seattle as a rookie, being scared as shit. You probably don't know this name, but Lee Nalon was my vet.
Lee Nalon, of course I know.
He was telling me, like, dog, that's Jesus. Like, he gonna bust your ass. There ain't no point in you getting all nervous and get in your head, he's gonna bust your ass early. Right. Like, I love the competitive of basketball and stuff and the relationship that we have. But the greatest memory I have of Ray is literally 2 years ago we did Bahamar?
Yeah, 2
years ago, we sat on the back patio, and he's sitting there telling me about all the challenges of just life, as well as golf, as well as running, as well as sports, and what I want to do and shit like that. And I'm just literally sitting here talking to him, and while he's doing all the talking, I'm listening. I'm like, oh shit, like
this is some I thought we were bringing Ray on to talk golf and podcast.
No,
I'm like learning life lessons.
No,
I'm all for it, man.
And for me, like growing up and being obviously like he is a Michael Jordan guy, like this and like that, and everything I thought that MJ was is who Ray Allen is, and who he is as a person, how he carries himself, and everything else like that. And it's just like, oh shit, like I found my GOAT within a GOAT.
I understand what you're saying.
So I appreciate you for that, Ray. Honestly, I really do.
That's really cool, Ray. I was funny before we went on air. I was actually talking about when I played very low level basketball. I would always want a guy. I'd rather have a guy who was a bully baller than a guy that was going to run me to death and run me off screen after screen after screen. And I asked JR straight up. I said, "Was Ray that terrible to guard?" Because you had to be an awful guy to chase around because your mentality was going to outwork you. I've done this, and I'm not going to get tired. You're going to get tired, and I'm going to get my shots up. But was it that rough?
It was worse for me because I caught Ray when he was transitioning into a more of a runner shooter. People don't know Ray for handling the ball, dunking on you, putting on like I ran into that Ray towards the end of his career, and he was just as efficient as he was running off of screens or people on him and stuff like that. So for me, it was tougher. Seattle Ray, I know 18-year-old JR, I know Seattle Ray is the toughest guard one of the toughest guards I've ever had, for sure.
Very interesting. Now, Ray, you got any good JR on-court dirt or a good JR story?
I don't got too many highlights on court against Ray, so we just.
Hey, we've seen some of the old when you had bounce on those legs. Still, we were
not highlights though.
Well, to JR's point, it was I was fortunate because when I came into the league, like I remember playing against Clyde Drexler and Barkley and Mitch Richmond, and I had that same desire to compete and want to be measured against these guys because I watched them growing up most of my life. And so I have a picture where I dunked on Barkley and I'm on the rim like this, and he's trying to get the ball, but it's going down and it was on Barkley. And, in my mind, I remember Hersey Hawkins. I remember, just thinking about what a player he was and how I always looked up to him. And now he was chasing me, but he couldn't keep up. Not because his mind couldn't keep up. It was just because he was older and I was younger. And so the thing that I was so nervous with JR was because I remembered, that transition. When I was in my rookie year, Ricky Pierce came to Milwaukee. And Ricky Pierce was 38 years old, and he was doing everything he could to exist and be on the team. And they brought him back in as mentorship, and he always wanted to play. But he couldn't because he couldn't keep up with me. And so I remember that as I was starting to catch all these young guys in the league, and I would never say it to JR, but I was always afraid of what JR could do if he knew what he could do when he was at that age. But JR was still learning the league, so he didn't know that I was hanging on for dear life, trying to make sure with his athleticism that he didn't know that I was trying to hold on or I was trying to hang on to what it was that he was capable of doing. But that's the thing about the game is the fear that we all have, the fear of not being good enough. And I think that's what drives all of us in whatever endeavor that we choose. So you go and you work on it and you figure it out. So I always knew I had to be sharp, against JR because he was, he could jump, he could handle the ball. And I was more tired, so I had to run more. So in your mind, it's like you're sitting here telling yourself, I got to work 3 times as much as their 1 time. But I need to make sure that they know that they don't know that.
I swear he was amazing at that. He would be moving and make it seem like he's not doing nothing, but he knew that I was watching him to be like, nah.
If you see him, if you see anything like that,
if I see any of this, if I see him do this one time, like, okay, bet I got him.
He's tired.
He would do that just to mess with me, just to make it seem like he's tired and come right off. Like that shit was crazy.
Yeah, so I'm coaching my son's AAU team now, I always ask him, I say, are you guys tired? Like, and now I got him programmed to say no, but I was like, I know you want to say no because you don't want to look tired, but I know you're tired. You got your hands on your knees. I said, the minute you put your hands on your knees, I know I got you.
100%.
Yeah, I know I got you. You know, and that's what your opponents see. Every little thing is like poker. Like you see every little tell. And I said, one of the greatest compliments that you can pay or that can be paid to you. And I'll tell you a story. So we were playing San Antonio and what's the guy's name? Big guy. He's about 6'9". Used to shoot it like this and run quick. Redhead.
Oh, Bonner.
Yes.
Matt
yeah,
Bonner?
Matt Bonner.
So Pop subs him in because Pop had to sub whoever was out because he was trying to go smaller and he needed Bonner because he could move. So Bonner comes in the game and he starts doing the math. He was like, okay, you got him. He looks at Pop. He was like, Pop. You know, because he immediately realized that he had me. And he looked at Pop and he was like, Pop,
I'm not going to guard him.
Yeah, and literally something happened. It was like a dead ball or something. Pop got him out there right away because it was like he already showed his hand that I didn't want this assignment. And so the greatest compliment that we see as players is when you get a player that's guarding you in foul trouble because he can't guard you or he can't keep up with you because you're moving so much, coach has to sub him out. Like if a good coach is paying attention to those things, you know, that's what I'm teaching these kids. Like you guys each have an individual matchup one-on-one. If you can beat that matchup every day, that's 6 points at least a game. You know, think about 6 points a game where nobody has to run a play for you. You get down the floor, you beat him down, like his hands down, you shoot a three, you get to the free throw line. That's 6-7 points where that's not a play call, that's not anything but just you being in better shape than the guy that's guarding you.
That's what Jay Kidd taught me. The year I won 6 minutes, that's what Jay Kidd taught me. He said, I can get you 6 to 8 points a game if you just run the floor.
Hard.
All you gotta do is run the floor. I get you 6 to 8 points a game. I guarantee you'll average at least 16 to 18 points. You'll make the rest just off your talent and they'll have plays called for you. But I'll get you 6 to 8 points a game just if you run.
That's why watching that Nets team with him and Kenyon and RJ and was Kittles on that team too.
Yeah.
Those guys, man, because Kenyon back then too, he ran like a deer. And if you run with Jay Kidd, he's going to get you the ball in the right spot.
Yeah, every time on SportsCenter when they show Kenyon Martin dunking, guys would be like, "Thank you, Jason."
Yeah.
Seriously, him, RJ.
Yeah, but even going back when Jay Kidd was in Phoenix, every time they got a rebound and then he ran the floor, they used to play on the audio system. They used to play NASCARs.
Man,
I literally every game that we played in Phoenix, I lost 4 to 5 pounds.
Really?
Yeah, I measured every time because the score was always.
was that Westfall?
Huh?
Was that Paul? Was that Coach Westfall? Is that the?
It was D'Antoni.
Oh yeah, so D'Antoni just trying to run up 130 points a game, kind of thing, right?
But see, then now the numbers are up there, but then the highest team average was like 103, 104.
I was about to say, yeah.
Yeah, we played and we would be like 114, 115 in that game, and literally it was just we used to have this mentality, and it's always interesting because coaches don't realize some games your defense just doesn't work. And when it doesn't work, I just need to win this game and then we'll figure out what we need to figure out during practice. But right now, let's make sure the score at the end of the game has us higher than theirs. Because ultimately that's the objective, right? So with some teams you're playing against, they have a hot player or their team is just running on all cylinders. And then now you got to figure out, okay, my defense don't work. We got to make sure our offense is definitely on par with what they're doing out there.
So, hey, speaking of a hot player, we were talking earlier about what Steph's doing right now. Those last couple games is pretty impressive. Who wins on a golf course? You or Steph? You're about the same number, I think.
I think we go toe to toe. I mean, we've gone back and forth. His game is similar to mine. Like, I think I may hit a little further than him off the tee. But it'll be interesting, like, when he's, moving towards slowing down the basketball and playing more golf. I know we talked about getting, a couple people trying to put a tour together with more than just 2 tournaments a year. But we'll start to see more players, because right now basketball is the one sport that doesn't really represent that well with its players, its current players playing golf. So I think over the next couple of years you'll start to see more guys that are into it that are currently playing.
A couple other kind of random golf questions for you. What's your favorite golf course that you've ever played?
My favorite is Whistling Straits.
Really? That's a
I
shocking.
heard that one.
Yeah, that's a shocking one. It's beautiful though. Have you golfed overseas?
Yeah, I've done Ireland, played in Australia, played.
Because Whistling's kind of like an Irish vibe, some of the southwest of Ireland type of courses. So,
and I'll tell you, if you like JR, think about the NBA when you're playing in a smaller market, and it's one of them games that you just play. There's no real fan experience, or it's just. Most places are starting to build up, but when you go to Boston, when you go to Chicago, you feel the fervor. Cleveland is pretty much consistent, especially obviously when you guys are there. There's few courses that I've played that make you feel like you're in a venue.
Yeah.
Whistling Straits is one of those places that when you stand on the first tee and then you walk down the fairway, you're on one hole and one hole only, and you really truly feel like you're in it. You're in a competition, and this course requires all of your attention on every shot, and you have to hit every club in your bag.
That's cool.
And that to me, you can, some people look at the aesthetics. People want to be pampered. You're talking about all these different things, the views, but when it comes down to how I choose a course that I think is one of the greatest that I love to play, I just think about a course that sometimes it forces you to you got to hit driver 70% of the time, but then there's a hole you might be able to drive, and there's a hole that you may have to hit something like an iron on the tee box because there's a sand trap out there, something that makes you think on every single shot, and then where you're going to hit to the green. And I think Whistling Straits is just that course.
What is one course you haven't played that you really want to play?
Cyprus.
Interesting.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's a good one. I mean, look, from people I trust, I haven't played it yet. That's maybe one of the best walks that you can go out there. I appreciate what you're saying, is that it's not just about the aesthetics or the history of the course, that all these courses have their own vibe and their own feel. And we've talked about this on previous podcasts. That's why my favorite place to play golf in America is National Golf Links out in Long Island. It's surrounded by 2 courses that may have bigger names, but there's something special for me personally about National. So, what's your favorite club in the bag?
My favorite club in the bag is my 3-iron.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you use it off the tee a lot?
Yeah.
See,
I found that, I hit my 3-iron about 245, and a lot of times, you want to get the ball in the fairway, and if you think about a 420-yard hole, you have, literally damn near 200 yards left. That if I could put the ball in the fairway off the tee every time, I know I hit that 3-iron long enough where I can put it in position. and I could hit, a 4 or 5 iron to get to the green. And I used to always wonder with Tiger, like Tiger would hit iron off the tee, and I was like, man, Tiger used to leave so much room left on the to the green. And I was asking myself, like, man, why? I wonder why, like, he just didn't take driver out. One, driver brings in so many other things, like, because a lot of fairways turn into bottlenecks where, things run out, especially if you hit the driver far. But I can take my 3-iron and I can swing it as hard as I want, and it's not going to go into too many bad places.
Yeah, a bad 3-iron is going to leave less margin of error than a mediocre drive even.
Right.
Yeah, that
right.
makes sense.
So that's the thing. It's like when you start hitting your long irons well, you at least give yourself better chances to hit more greens because you're not trying to punch out and putting the ball in trees. And I played a course in boxes. So, you figure from the tee to the fairway, if there's sand traps, I was like, what can I hit that won't go into that sand trap? And I just put it right in front of that. I can swing as hard as I want, and then do the same thing to the green. You swing whatever you swing to that yard as hard as you want. The problem here with Florida is there's so much wind always. You have to really hit shots. You just can't free swing.
If you had one more round of golf, where is it and who's it with?
If I have one more round of golf, it would be Augusta, and I definitely, JR, you know this, but one of our favorite people together is Larry Fitzgerald.
Yeah.
I definitely like to have him in my foursome.
Larry.
I like the gamblers, guys that like to.
Wait, what's Larry's number, by the way, right now?
Well, Larry, it's funny. I just asked Larry this in our chat.
No, because hold on. Because I've seen Larry in some of these pro-ams, and his number seems to be higher than the guy. Like, I don't know if you can see the logo, man. Ray. I just was down at his new Florida club last week.
Yeah.
You don't get into that club if you're really some of the numbers that you see thrown out there. So.
If you Larry Fitzgerald, you do.
That course isn't about handicap. That course is about connectivity and networking.
Yeah.
Big hitters there, but
yeah,
I think Larry is, his game is polished, but then he has more higher scores than lower, and so he needs, like, his handicap will go up. I think he said he's a 7, but I think he's, he can get to around a 9 or 10 handicap range, because he does. It's just like again, when we talked about earlier, learning to hit the club that you need to hit at that moment, because I think there's a tendency that we, in our minds, we say, I can hit driver. It's only, the hole's only, 390. But whenever I see a 3 in front of that yardage, I always will, I can hit a 250 shot and have a wedge in.
Yeah.
Whatever I want to hit 250, and there's no trouble. I don't have to worry about anything. Obviously, it depends, how the hole's shaped and what's up there. But that's the difference. It's course management, because Larry can play the game. He can hit his balls. He can hit it a good distance. But, do we make the right club selection at the right time? And I think that's why a lot of us, our handicaps are higher than they should be.
Yeah, I think that's where, especially when you play the good spots, that's where you're, especially if you play with that caddy once, twice, maybe 3 times, you really get to dial in on your scores and what you really get a feel for the spot. Because for us, especially for somebody like myself and people, we just haven't been around the game long enough to know, to take every variable into play. The ball's a little below my feet. The wind's blowing a little left to right. It's a back pin. Which side to play it on and stuff like that. To where a caddy who's played there numerous times, know about what your number is, know your game, could tell you, like, okay, listen, you want to, this is your target, or this is what who knows your game, knows your club.
It's golf IQ, right? I mean,
Yeah,
that's
for
the thing
sure.
you're talking about. I'm newer to golf as JR is, I think, too. That the golf IQ is something because you got some shots, you got the shots to hit.
Yeah.
But when to hit those shots is sometimes lost on us. So, sorry, let's get back to it. So you're at Augusta National. You're with Larry Fitzgerald. Who else?
Piggyback on that. There's 3 things that you always got to take into consideration every time that you get ready to step over your ball. That's your distance. That's the slope, which is elevation, and the wind. Mm-hmm. And every time those 3 things, you should have an answer. Because typically we just look at distance and you just swing it, but then you're like, damn, that was downhill. I flew the green, because we never take into consideration, what the wind was. Even if you don't feel it blowing, there's always subtleties out there where it might give you a little push, and then you're like, you don't have to smother this ball. You just need to swing it, let it move. But
That's true.
And you got to consider the elevation. Uphill, downhill. The uphill is going to play a half club shorter, as well as downhill. So when you take those 3 things into consideration every time you play, every time you swing, you'll find yourself, kind of doing the math and doing putting the work in, and you'll come up with a more solid number than just, stepping over and gripping and ripping it.
That mental discipline is something I still lack.
So let me ask you this, right? You got a favorite logo in golf? Like as far as golf clubs and stuff like that, do you pay attention to the logos, or are you a swag guy when you pro shop dude?
Yeah, I go in. Pro shop is like a toy store for adults. I always buy something in there, right? It's like, I'm gonna get this ball marker. Like, one of my favorite logos is the Wingfoot.
Oh yeah, we talked about that one earlier. It's great. That is a good one.
Yeah, because because I always, like, I look at things and I'm always like, why did they do it like this? So I'm always like into this improvement, like figuring out what could make it better, or how clubs can, make the experience greater. But logos are, they make the difference, when you brand something, especially these courses, the names of them, it's like there's a storyline to it, when you see it, because I always look at, I saw your Seminole right when we came on, and
That's a good one.
It tells a story.
Yep.
Always it tells a story, and I think that's the beautiful thing about being able to travel. Like it's almost an ego play too, when you think about it. When you put a hat on that says Seminole on it, and a buddy of yours that don't get out much, he's like, "Oh yeah, you like the Florida Seminoles?" He's like, "No, buddy, this."
Yeah, no, totally different things. It's funny too, because there's something, and I know my wife doesn't get it, but she's like, "How many 3/4 zip pullovers do you need?" And the fact of the matter is, there is some weird man, like machismo ego thing about when I pull over my Pine Valley or my Oakmont or whatever it may be. There is something to be said for that.
Yeah.
None of us go in the pro shop like this cat, though. I mean, you saw that post he did when he got home from Pine Valley? Did you see that? Oh my gosh, Ray. This man.
I tore it up, dog. I ain't gonna lie.
No.
I tore it up.
This is other level. Like, my wife's going to see this, so I'm not going to say exactly what number I spent the first time I went to Pine Valley. But, I mean, he had to drive.
No, don't think.
Oh yeah, she's a dummy. So this guy goes home and he puts it out. He's got this big ass island, and he puts out all of the gear he bought. I'm talking
I got cashmere sweaters,
like
polos,
4 cashmere sweaters and 3/4 zip.
different colors, everything.
He got every color beanie they had. He had 5 hats. He had everything. And it ended up getting picked up, like Golf Digest put it out and Golf Mag, and it was pretty impressive. But we had a run, Ray. We did Pine Valley, Wingfoot, Quaker, Fishers, Cricket,
and
Westchester Country Club up in New York, Somerset Hills here in New Jersey. And this man didn't walk out of one pro shop without dropping $1,500 in things that he surely didn't need. He was repeating the same clothing, same exact shirt with a different logo on it by the time we were done.
So my goal is, for me, I want my own pro shop of my shit in my closet. So when I go golfing, like, this is actually a question I wanted to ask you. Like, how long do it take you to pick out what you want to wear before you go golfing? Do it take you a minute? Because it take me a minute. I gotta look good. I gotta play good.
It's so embarrassing how long it takes me to do this.
I got all of it.
I always do it the night before.
I lay it out. I lay it out for my wife the night before. I'm like, all right, babe, which one? Which one? I got like 6 combos.
Yeah, and I always try to I'm always in search for the right shorts. The belt. I'm constantly online looking for belts because what I do is like my outfits start either with the hat or the belt, or the shoe.
I was just gonna say, hold on. Man. Listen, as a sneaker fanatic, if it doesn't start from the feet up, I'm confused.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It could go either way. Like belt, like I'm gonna start with this belt. I got a green and red belt. It's got a green stripe. It's white, but it's got a green stripe and it's got a red stripe. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna start my outfit with this belt today, and then I'm gonna match the top to the bottom. Like sometimes I might just wear a red short and a green shirt, or vice versa, or all white with that, and then the hat to match. So you're just accenting colors. So at night when I know, because I typically play early in the morning anyway, so I make sure I put my outfit together. I put the shoe that I'm gonna golf in right underneath it. Got my speaker right by it, and then belt hanging, and then
travel case.
How many pair of golf shoes do you have?
Probably, maybe like 30 or 40 pairs.
What's your favorite pair of golf shoes? The more important question.
My favorite pair. Golf is different. I've been rocking the Jordan 5s, and I just got the 4s, the cement 4s.
I think the cement 4 is the greatest sneaker ever made, and the fact that they did the golf shoe, my man.
That's my favorite one.
Which one?
The 4, the fire red one. You're saying the fire red 4 is the greatest of all time.
The original, the white with the red and black. Yeah. I think 4s are the greatest shoe ever, but the cement and the fires are the 2 top shoes ever.
These cements, I have not worn them yet because I just feel like to me they're like a trophy. They're like,
you waiting for DR, that championship round. I know what you waiting on. I know what you waiting on.
You know what? Hey, it's funny. I have shoes in a stash here in our office that I bring out for like the special round. Like when I went down to Seminole, he's like, you better believe I was rocking a brand new pair of the clean things. So it's alive and well.
It's crazy for me. I'm the opposite. Like when I go to like a really good spot, like a Seminole, or I gotta wear shit that I know how it fits. I know what it's going to look like. I know how comfortable it is because the walk has to be. No,
this is an embarrassing thing. Ray, we're playing one day. I don't know if you're a hockey fan at all, but a buddy of ours, Scott Hartnell, who played in the NHL for a long time, and it's me and Hartsey and one of our other buddies and JR. And we show up, and Hartnell's in the Grape 5s golf shoe. I was wearing, I think, the actually Chicago 1 golf shoe. And then the 70-year-old buddy of Hartnell's.
I think he had like the patent leathers.
Yeah, he was wearing like the 11 Concord golf shoe. And
I was bringing it down.
My man, he came out with some FootJoys that looked like nursing shoes. Bro. And I was like, what are those? I mean, it was awful. I was like, man, you got to go back and change your shoes.
It was the most comfortable walk.
Telling them, JR, like, yeah, that's what I tell my guys, man, look.
Go backwards, man.
Yeah, I got a buddy like that. I got a buddy I play with down here, and shoes look like they got ran over by the car. The shoestring, dingy.
I gotta get some new shoestring.
No, it was really embarrassing. I had a moment where I decided if I was going to stay friends with JR as a result of the nursing shoes he wore on the golf course that day.
You seen that drive I hit on one. He was like, you know what? All right.
All right, hey, we got to get back. I want to hear this. So you're Augusta National Larry Fitzgerald. We interrupted you with our shoe tangent.
Oh, we definitely did.
So who's the other 2 guys you got?
I think that I would put I put Steph in there because he's a good player. And then I don't know. I've never played with Tiger, so I put Tiger in there.
That'd be a fun one.
That's a hell of a match right there.
Yeah, Tiger's known to want to gamble a little bit too.
Oh, of course. The thing about him, we got to give me a boatload of shots, bro. There's no way about it. There's no way we play straight up.
If you're tired, I can get him.
3 aside, you can get them?
Give me 3 aside.
Really? 3 aside.
I like that.
So you're scratched. He's a +8 at his prime. That would get. Oh no. We're not talking about like that what 98 or whatever. No, I'm saying I get that.
Yeah, because he's going to shoot 60 in his prime. He's going to shoot anywhere we play 64, 65, like without blinking. And I'm not saying he won't do that now, but
yeah, he'd wake up in the morning.
Yeah,
he'd wake up in the morning and go bang a 65.
Here's the thing that you have to always remember about golf. Whenever you're playing, you guys, your buddy come up to you and he's like, "Man, shot 68 the other day," and anybody that ever tells me that, the first question I ask them is, "Who'd you play with?"
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're playing with other people who aren't firing shots back at you, when somebody's making birdies on top of birdies on you, like that makes you wobble a little bit. Like if you hit a shot into a par 3 and he puts it inside of you, you're like, "Dang, this dude."
Yeah, you stuff one and he just dunks on top of you. Yep.
Yeah, it does play with your mental a little bit. But if your group is just kind of all over the place and you're just over there free swinging and comfortable and putting the ball everywhere you can play it, then yeah, that 68 seems a little bit simpler. But when you're playing with good players, the good players make me play better because I pay attention to the management and swinging easy and not really stepping outside their body.
Yeah.
But it does affect you when you're playing with better players, even if they're shooting better scores than you.
Yeah.
It does over time. I think your game gets better.
Who's the best non-professional golfer you've played with?
I got a friend of mine named Derek Berg. He's now assistant pro at Sahali in Seattle, and I played a lot of golf with him. He's always been trying to get on the PGA Tour, but there's so many guys don't get that. It's monetary. Like you got to continually be throwing money at it, like staying in hotels, traveling, play tournaments, and then everybody can't do that. And this guy, every time we played, it was 66, 65, 64, 61.
Mm-hmm.
It was almost like he was just swinging a stick and hit the ball and the ball just went forward. We try to keep that club on plane. Like he just swung it and it didn't, ball however you want to hit it.
I don't know what that even looks like.
What's
the go-to beverage on a golf course? Do you drink? Do you drink on the course?
I don't drink.
You don't drink at all? Okay. What's the go-to then for you during a round?
Perrier. Yeah, Perrier, and the trick for me is I have a bag of cashews and pecans and sometimes sunflower seeds.
See, that's what happens when you're healthy.
Well, the thing I learned was when I was young, I have hot dogs and all that stuff, and I realized I was gaining weight. So I told myself, okay, I'm gonna be out here doing this golf thing. Like, how do you manage your body and your eating while you're out here? Because you think it's a free for all because you could just do whatever. It's the off season.
Mm-hmm.
But what I did was I learned to eat while I was on the golf course, smoke a cigar, but manage your diet. Don't just start pounding food because you're outdoors and you're having a good time.
Food and alcohol.
Yeah.
So I got a question. What's the best caddy you've had?
I'm really not a caddy person.
Really?
Yeah. Like I really think that I could read greens really well because I like to see greens from the whole side. I look at them, see them from the side of the putt. And then obviously for me, the realest, truest read is from the ball side. So I take all that in consideration. It's not like I travel with a caddy. So when you go to play a course and you have a caddy, caddies don't know how you putt.
Right.
Caddies try to tell you where to hit the ball, and then the minute he gets it wrong, I'm like, I ain't listening to his ass no more.
Oh man, we both got a buddy that like that. He is terrible with the caddy.
Yeah, like I got a buddy like that too. Like no matter, like I'll be his partner, and I'll tell him, I'll say, okay, I'm standing by the hole. I said, put it right here, like a cup outside on your left. And this dude, what he'll do is he'll putt it so the ball will end up in that spot that I just told him to hit it. And then look at me, he's like, it never broke. I said, bro, you putted the ball way out past the line to get it to that spot. I didn't say put it to the spot. I said, start your line on this spot.
If you did that at the hole, you would have made it, motherfucker.
Yeah. But and every time we had this conversation, I said, dude, don't get it to the line. Start it at the line.
Right.
It's funny. I had a caddy. We were playing a Royal Troon over in Scotland, and on the first hole, my man comes up to me, looks me dead in the eye, and he goes, "Are you going to hit the back of the cup, or are you just going to roll it over the front edge of the cup today?" And it's the first time a caddy ever asked me that. And I said, candidly, I'm a roll it over the front edge guy. I'm not a guy who's going to jam it in the back of the cup. And he said, all right, I got you then. And from that point forward, like he was a real player. This guy's trying to make the tour over in England, but that was the best I've ever been on the same page with a caddy before, because he actually asked some questions to get how I put, like you, to your point, how do you putt? And if you're a dyer of the ball, that's a different line than if you're a jam it in the back of the hole guy. So yeah, I love the caddy, but I also think it mentally gives me a built-in excuse if something goes wrong.
Yeah.
Because you sit there the whole time and wait for him. Like, caddy got the other guy's putter in his hand.
Yeah. He's raking over here. Yeah.
And I'm over here like, I'm itching, I'm fiending. I'm like, okay, I need to. So one thing that you don't do, if a caddy's caddying for two players, don't let him grab your putter. Because the thing about your putter, especially when you walk off the cart, I hate going to the cart and I'm like, you go to grab and the caddy has it already. And I had to tell him, I'm going to grab my own putter. Because there's something about the relationship that you have from walking from the cart to the green with your putter in your hand, just getting familiar, feeling it. So when you stand over the ball, it doesn't feel foreign, as opposed to a caddy handing you the putter right before you get ready to putt. Like, I need it in my hand all the time. And they take over. There's a sense of, it's almost like you're giving power of attorney over your golf game to a caddy. And for me, there's just
some Zen golf right there.
Yeah, it's just something about that you're waiting for their, caddies sometimes want to come in and tell you, hit the ball here. I was like, dude, I know where to hit it. Like, I could see the fairway. I know I never played here before. I got the yardage. I know where to hit it. Like, I got to tell caddy, I was like, if I need something from you, I'll ask you. But don't, because sometimes what they do is they give you too much information and then you overthink.
Mm-hmm.
Now, do you prefer a cart versus walking?
Yeah.
Interesting.
I like to enjoy the round, just sitting in the car, got something to drink, you got some music playing. Yeah. There are certain places I love walking. Yeah. And again, when I know I'm going to walk, I carry a different bag. Yeah. I think about a different pair of shoes that I know I'm going to wear. So just there's such a comfort and a luxury about riding the cart and just sitting there, waiting at your shot, and just like, I work out enough. Like, I don't want to have to feel like I'm walking and I'm beating the pavement. Like, you would sit there and JR and them, they played Solstice. You played?
Yeah. Then Solstice and Bandon Dunes, bro.
Yeah, that sounds.
We walked 4 rounds consecutively.
In one day?
In one day. We teed off at like 6:30. We walked off the last hole at 7:30 at night. I'll tell you, first of all, when you walk that much, you don't want to go nowhere but to where you're supposed to be for the rest of the night. They want to walk to the the little snack bar. They want to go eat. You want to go back to the pro shop.
Direct line.
I'm done. It's over after this.
I love golf. I love hanging with the boys. I like competing. I have zero interest in playing 4 consecutive rounds on my feet.
And play SFG the next day.
Not doing it.
I would do it. You would do it too, right? You're in the comfort and confines of your own house, air conditioned, sitting there. But when the bros are doing it, sign me up.
You know what's probably gonna be saying, I'm too competitive too, because he'll start talking shit. and it's all downhill from there.
Yeah.
I got one question. What's the most nervous you've ever been standing over a golf ball?
It definitely was in Tahoe.
I was going to ask you. That was my
That's
last
what
question.
That's what you said too, right? Yeah.
Yeah, definitely was in Lake Tahoe. And I'm telling you, like I got to a point in one round in Lake Tahoe where I couldn't get the ball to ground. Like I was sculling everything, hitting good drives in the fairway. And with that wedge, you're standing over it and I'm gripping the club too tight and you just start to feel the pressure of the environment. I'm like, dude, I know how to play golf. Like, why am I not hitting the ball the way I'm supposed to be hitting the ball? And so over the years, I've been trying to analyze, the rounds I've played and the position I've come in. And it started to make sense to me why you start to feel that anxiety. And that's because when you play in that environment, you have to settle in. You have to get comfortable in that environment and breathe just like we do in basketball. Understand and, you look at the ball and there's nothing different from what you do in your practice rounds to now. But the problem is you have to get in rounds, other competitive rounds, other tournaments, you play into that tournament, being in tournament form as opposed to I just was hitting balls with my buddies, playing these little games at the course. And then you come to put the ball in every hole situation with a gallery lined up the hole, depending on who you're playing with. You're going to, no matter how tough you think you are or how chiseled or natured you are in a game of golf, like that's an element of a different experience that allows or that avoids or keeps you from being able to be comfortable. And it's okay though. Like think about going to the free throw line. Like you get super nervous, you get uncomfortable, but you go to your routine. Mm-hmm. And the free throw, you got one down, like, whew, good. Then the second one, you do the same thing. Like golf is the same thing. Like you have to figure out how to get to your comfort. You're uncomfortable, but the more you get comfortable with that discomfort, you learn how to go through your preparation, which makes you comfortable in that discomfort because it's always going to exist, but you just know how to go to your routine. You hit one shot and you're like, whew, I got through that. Now I got to make this putt, and that's kind of how golf is. Like you feel shaky over everything, but when you just stay inside yourself and you go to your routine, then you just get one shot done and one shot and then you continue.
Well, that's how you shoot.
That's why you're point 4. It's funny too, because I was thinking about it, and I've done the same free throw shooting routine since I was like 6 years old. I'm thinking about our round we played at cricket 2 days ago. I didn't do the same thing twice before I hit a tee shot.
It's funny when I started playing better on the back, I was doing the same routine, but it just took me a minute to get into it. That's dope though. I gotta get that.
Yeah, man.
Golf, what you have to do. Like you have to get to your ball and do your pregame routine so you can carve out the time that allows you to get comfortable. Because a lot of times what you do is somebody hit and then you want to run over there and hit real fast and not slow the group down. So
get to your ball first.
Yeah, if you can get to your ball, like say when we haven't rode in same carts in a while, but when we're riding the same cart, if I'm driving, what I'll do is I'll take my guy to his ball and I'll let him get everything he wants and needs. Even if he's in front of me, I'll just drop him off and let him get ready so he can have his thing. So then I can go back to my ball. Or even if I'm the shortest hitter in the group, drop me off and then go to your ball. So that way I'm doing all the things I need to do to prepare and we can be more efficient, because what happens is when you get behind, you start to rush, so if you can get to your ball and, throw the grass up, do your scope, you might go pick one club and choose another club, and then you take your practice swings and now you feel comfortable knowing, okay, I have the right club.
Yep.
When you do all that, now you can make a commitment to your swing. A lot of times, we're rushed and you don't feel comfortable and you make a half commitment and then you end up hitting a bad shot.
Sounds like somebody scored a goal in the background.
Yes, I got like 12 boys in my house right now.
Oh, that's killer.
You got anything else?
I'm great, man. I appreciate it, Ray. Appreciate you.
Do you want to circle back to have him introduce?
Absolutely.
Ray, if you're okay with it, just because we started kind of just BSing from the jump, if you're okay with kind of circling back and have JR actually introduce the show and introduce you, just so we can edit it and put it back in, that'd be good. You good with that?
Yeah, I'm ready. All right. Why are you laughing, LaMorgan?
The peanut gallery is, I think, taunting JR right now.
I ain't gonna lie though, this is more nerve-wracking than standing over a putt, shooting a free throw, or anything. With cameras just sitting on you and people just sitting there, that shit is the worst.
I don't know. I mean, I feel pretty comfortable.
Yeah, that's because you talk all the time.
Fear of with people, they took a survey, is public speaking. And the number 2 fear is death. So think about it. People would rather be in the casket than delivering the eulogy at a funeral.
That's tough.
That's super. I've never heard that stat.
That's tough. Hey, true or false? Did this really happen real quick? And I know they still wrong, but there's a story going around, or not going around, that I was told to at Liberty about you having to give a speech because you told the owner you were going to break par. No,
I didn't. He told me that I wouldn't break 80 on the course.
Oh, 80. Okay.
Yeah. And I told him, I was like, I break 80 all day long. Like that's, because I was really like then I was a 1 or 2 handicap. I was like 80. I was like, for sure. And it came down to the last hole. I bogeyed and I shot 80. So he told me, because we were doing this event, he said, if you don't break 80, then you gotta do the introduction to the event tonight. And it was a tournament, so they had this gathering, all these people, and I was like,
hey man, 18's a big hole there. If usually the wind's coming in at you, that's a big hole at Liberty.
And the thing was it wasn't like I played bad. It's just that you make bogey here and there, and they start to add up. And I didn't give myself the breaks. And the course is tough because it's tight, so you got to know where to hit it. But he didn't. I don't think he knew that I was as good as a golfer. He just assumed that it's a tough course. You won't break 80. It's your first time.
You know what's funny, Ray? We've had this because I obviously play a ton of golf with JR, so we go to a lot of places all over the country. And I actually think people, they have this kind of perception of what he's going to be. They see the 6'6", 6'7" guy and tattoos, and they've seen him on the court. I don't think a lot of them, it takes them maybe a few swings to see it. But I think a lot of people just say, when I say no, I'm like, he's a legit golfer. He's a 4. He should be a 4, but he sandbags himself up to a 5. I said, no, but he's
one shot this shit. Shoot.
But I say he's the legitimate golfer. Like, I think it takes people a little bit to really understand that this is a legit thing that you can play. So I'm sure that's probably a misconception about a lot of athletes that don't seem to be like they're the golfer, so to speak.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of underlying racism that kind of accompanies that thought. A lot of people, I've been told this one time 2 years ago. I was at a club in Connecticut, and one of the guys said to me, he goes, "What's it like playing the white man's game?" And he was a little tipsy when he said that, but I took real offense to it, and I told the guy that I was playing with, I said that, he told him what he said to me, and the guy ended up apologizing, but he spoke his truth. And I think a lot of people, what they think about us, one, just anybody, any normal person, they assume that we should have a tougher go at golf because golf is not our main sport. The people that know we can play golf well, almost in many circles, get frustrated because we can be good golfers, because they think it's not fair. You could play basketball well and you could play golf. And I was like, well, life is not about fair. Fair in some senses of the definition means average. We are, better than average golfers because, they think that we're just good at basketball. But what it is that we're good at learning how to understand what we need to understand so we can improve on what we need to improve on. That's what makes you evolved spirit, an evolved person, because you can take something somebody shows you or tells you, and then go figure out how to work it, learn it, and then get better at it. That's what makes us low handicap players. It's not because we're tall. It's not because we played in the NBA. It's not because we're athletes. Everybody wants to believe that because they're giving themselves an excuse as to why they can't do it. So if they want to be great at something, it just is pure work.
Yep, that's truth.
That's facts. Damn. That's the gospel.
I know.
Right
that's
there.
what I'm saying. I feel inspired as shit right now. I want to go out and do something. I want to go do something.
Play balls.
Yeah, man.
Right,
I'm telling you, there's a raid. Look, I got the little local clubs about 5 minutes away. We can go out there and.
It's cold and it's raining, dog. This is Jersey.
Yeah, Jared's gotten a little soft with that LA weather the last year or so.
Man.
So like you start looking at the floor, like, you know what? I'm gonna give it a week.
Yeah. That's why I started leaving, bro. I go down to Florida. I come down there to see you. I go to Houston.
Yeah,
I'm ready though. Get ready for that DR.
Oh, for sure. Oh, for sure. All right.
yeah, that's right. I gotta work on that sales pitch too, by the way.
Yeah, good luck.
Hey, man, it was a pleasure meeting you for real, and I really, really appreciated, honestly, like learning and understanding the mental capacity and the work.
I'm not gonna lie. I was about to say I think he's gone.
Want to take a special thank you to our sponsor for the Unlocked podcast, All Access Golf Travel and Events. To unlock your next golf experience, head over to allaccessgte.com to check out our lineup of events and golf experiences all over the world.
Hold on, let me turn it up a notch. We been slowed down, but we back, time to watch shine lights.